Welcome to another lecture of HR Analytics. This is our lecture number 6, and in this lecture we will be talking about three analyses. One is the personality ratio, the Markov analysis, and then workforce planning using task analysis. So first we will try and understand these concepts, and then we will go to the Excel file, which you can download from the link which is there in the description of the video, and you can also practice it. So let's start with our first analysis, which is the personality ratio. Now, first of all, why do we use personality ratio? In HR, the personality ratios can be used when you are predicting that how many candidates should be recruited in order to fill one job or number of jobs. So what do? We actually get some data from our trend analysis, which means the past experience that we have developed based on our recruitment. So let's assume that in order to hire one new cost accountant, in the past, this was the trend and these were the ratios that we can see in the data. Now simply our data shows that for every 12 applications received, only one looks promising enough to invite for an interview. So the ratio is 1 to 12, which means if you receive 12 applications, out of 12 applications, only one person is capable enough or promising enough to be called for the interview. So this is the first stage of the ratios that we got. Then when you call that person for the interview, which is the second stage now, so here data shows that if you call 5 people for the interview, only one is actually offered a position. So how many are successful out of 5? 1 out of 5. So the ratio at the second stage is 5 into 1, 5 to 1 ratio. And then when you offer people jobs, when you offer 3 jobs, which means that when you make an offer of a job to 3 people, 2 actually accept the job. That means here at the third stage, the ratio is 3 to 2. So if 3 people are offered, only 2 will accept it. And then at the next stage, if you hire 10 people as new workers, 9 complete their training program or their socialization program successfully, and they become your employees. So now if you keep a track of the people at different stages, 12 ratio 1, 5 ratio 1, 3 ratio 2, and 10 ratio 9. So based on this, what you can say is that for every one person to be hired as a cost accountant, you must at least train or ask people for the training program, which is 1.11. Where does this come from? This is coming from this ratio. And then if you look at how many people should be offered a job in order for them to be part of the training program, that is coming from 2 to 3 ratio, this data. And then if you see that 8.33 job interviews must be conducted in order for you to offer jobs to 1.67 people. So this ratio is actually coming from this one. And then if you look at the data of this ratio, which means 100 applications must be received so that 8.33 job interviews can be held. So this ratio is coming from this 12 to 1. So this is what our data is offering us from the previous record, that how many people should be recruited, which means how many applications should be received in order to successfully hire one person. So let's now go to our Excel file and see how do we calculate it. So here we have our Excel file. First, you need to understand what is happening in the file. What is our past data telling us? So let's look at these jobs. These are the different job titles, all of them. Because we have the record of the previous recruitment and selection, and at each step, how many people were shortlisted, that's why we can predict our future, that how many people should we recruit in order to hire one or certain number of people. So now what our data is telling us is that for virtual assistants, when you recruited 259 people, actually 236 met the basic criteria. The other applications were discarded. And then when you out of 236, only 194 were called for the test and others were dropped because of some reason. And then after the test, only 90 were capable to go to the next stage. And when you check the reference, you could only call 56 people for the interview. And then out of 56, only 10 were promising enough to be called for the final interview. And you offered the job to 5 people, and 3 of them joined your orientation program, and 1 again left here, and then 2 took the training program, but again from there 1 person left, and you were able to get 1 successful employee. So this is showing all the stages. So in order to hire 1 employee, you had to offer training to 2 people, then you need to give the orientation to 3 people, job offers were made to 5 people, and then 10 and 56. So in short, it means that when you at least recruit 259 people, you will be able to successfully convert them into 1 employee, which will stay with you. Now the same data if we carry in our future prediction part here. So if you just follow, it's the same data, but this data is for the 1 employee hiring. So let's now look at what is happening here. So if you have this data already collected and entered into some kind of software, let's say Excel. Now what you can do is this data is for 1 employee. And let's suppose we have a job of this customer support, which is our 3rd one. So this 3rd job, if we need to hire people, let's say you need 5 people in the customers services department. So what should be our recruitment plan? So let's just put 5 here and see how things are changing. So now we can clearly see, let me just highlight it, and we can clearly see that in order to hire 5 customer service people, we need to at least recruit 1440 people, and then next predictor level and next predictor level, and eventually we will be able to hire 5 people. So this way you can very well decide how many people should be recruited, should be then transferred to the next level and the next level and the next level. So this is a very useful thing if you want to predict your number of applicants you should receive for a certain job. Now let's move to one of the very important supply and demand calculation models of HR. So first of all, we need to just get the concept. This is known as Markov Analysis. It has been named because it was developed by a person named Markov. He was a mathematician. He developed many models, out of which this one is used for the HR purposes. So now what is happening here is, let's say you are in 2022 and you are planning for 2023 or any year or any number of years, few things that you need to understand first. These are your job grades or job ranks. So let's say in this example, we have a plant manager. He's the top position. Then you have the foreperson, and then you have the team leader, and then you have production worker. So these are the 4 levels of the jobs that you have in your organization. You can have any number of levels, no matter how many levels you have, it'll still, the concept will remain the same. Now, if you see, because it's a matrix, the plant manager, this foreperson, team leader, and production worker. It is when you're going here as vertically, you have to go in the matrix horizontally like this. So these are the same jobs. Then at the end of matrix, we have the projected supply, which means the number of people that you will have at the end of certain time. And then here you have the exits, which means these are the number of people that you're expecting that they will leave you in this duration, whichever duration you're planning for. Now, the concept to understand here is that in the coming year for which we are planning, at the plant manager level, you expect 4 plant managers to be plant managers, but you also expect that one of them is going to leave you. So this is simple. But let's come to this foreman. This is a little critical to understand. Foreman, we total have 35 foremen. What will happen to them? Now, how many of them will remain the foreman out of 35? So 28 will remain foreman till this time. What is happening to the other people? 4 of them are expected to leave because exit, leave. And these 3 will be promoted or are supposed to be promoted to the plant manager level. So if you see, 28 will remain plant manager, 28 will remain foreperson, 3 will be promoted to the next level, 4 will be exiting or leaving your organization in one way or the other. What is happening at the team leader level? So you have 110 people now. Now team leader, 77 are going to remain at this level, 12 might be promoted to the next level, 13 will leave the organization, and this is a demotion, which means that 8 are expected to be demoted to the production worker level. This is a lower level than team leader. And then if you look at the production worker level, you have 861 people, out of which 620 will remain the worker, which is the production worker. 52 are supposed to be promoted to next level, and 189 are supposed to be leaving your organization in one way or the other. So this is what you expect will be happening in the coming year or years for which you are planning. How do we get some idea after plotting our Markov analysis? Now, projected supply is going to be this one. So now we are seeing is that at the plant manager level, 4 plant managers will be coming from the previous people and 3 will be promoted by this time. So total 4 plus 3 will lead to 7. And then if you look at this 4-person supply, 28 from the 4-person already you have, plus the 12 people who will be promoted from team leader to 4-person. So total you have 40 people. Same goes for the team leader, 77 plus 52, 129, and then 8 plus 620 is 628. So this is how you get the supply of your people in the next year or next years. Now you have to look at the demand, and let's suppose that we have the same demand which is not changing. So let's compare it. We need 5 plant manager, but we will have 7 plant manager, which means there is going to be a surplus of 2 people. And then if we need 35 or 4 person, but we will have 44 persons, so there's going to be a surplus of 5 people here. And if we look at the team lead, we need 110, but we have 129. So that means there's still a surplus of 19 team leader. But when we look at this production worker, we see a significant decrease in the number of people that we will have at the end of certain time. So here we need 861, but we will have 628. So there's going to be a lot of shortage here. So for this, and this, we will definitely move towards decruitment or transfer of these people somewhere else. But for this level, we will be going towards recruitment, and we will be needing some more people. So let's just go to our Excel file and see how can we analyze this data. So this is our Markov analysis in the Excel. Here we've got a little different grades than we were talking in the concept part. Here you can see the grades, which are from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest grade and 1 is the lowest grade. The same we have plotted here from 10 to 1. Expected exits, turnover in percentage, and then we have some more data that we will talk about. So what is happening here is, here we are also talking about the current number of employees that we have, that is this thing, and then the required number of people, which means that we are planning to have in the next years for which we are planning. Now what is happening here is that our current employees are 120 at the G10 level. So G10 level is showing 100 employees will remain at G10 level in the next year. 4 will be demoted to the G9 level because might be their performance is not right or something. And 16 are expected to leave. So this is 100 plus 4 plus 16 is equal to 120. So this is what we are expecting at the G10 level. The turnover will be 13.33% here. Same goes for these 200 employees at the G9 level, that they will have 8 employees will be promoted, 150 will remain at the G9 level, 6 will be demoted, and we're also expecting 36 to leave. So this means here's the turnover level in percentage, 18%. Same goes for all of these levels. Now, the major thing is that we have a required number and then we have a current number. It is different at different levels. So our projected supply is going to be this one, which means these are the number of people that we will have at the end of certain years. But these are the number of people that we require at the end of certain year. So projected supply and projected demand, which is grade wise, G10 to G1. When we do some maths here, which is simply a plus minus, the number of people that we need and the number of people that we have. Now the status shows that we need 138 people, but at the end of the time we will have 108 people. So there's a difference of 30 people. We need 30 people. So we need to hire 30 people at the end of certain time. Here same goes for this, that we need 230 people, but we will have 166 people at this G9 level. But here and at the G5, so G8 and G5 level, which are shown in red, are showing that we will have surplus of people, which means we will be needing 300 people, but we will have 316 people. So 16 people are going to be extra, which we need to get rid of. Do not confuse yourself with plus or minuses. Just do your own maths and see what is happening. So based on this status, we can clearly see that we can make certain decisions, that where we will be hiring people and where we'll be maybe firing people or recruiting people. And then based on this data, we also have the number of people who are going to leave us, which is 6,111 people are expected to leave at the end of certain time. And then if you look at the current employee, and that is 29,638 employees that you currently have with you. And at the end of certain time, you will be needing 33,762 employees. And turnover rate, cumulative turnover rate is going to be 20.62. So this one simple analysis can tell you a lot about what you might expect in the coming years. So this is another very important and very comprehensive method of calculating your supply and demand and predicting that what will be happening in future, where you will have to recruit, where you'll have to decruit, how many promotions will be taking place, how many demotions are expected to happen, what is the turnover rate at each level, and then what is the total turnover rate, the total number of people that you will be wanting in the end, and the total number of people that you have, and the total number of people who will be leaving you. Let's talk about workforce planning using task analysis. So here again, we will have to understand a few things, that sometimes when you're into a business which requires different tasks to be performed by different people or same people, so how many people you should hire in order to operate. For example, this is a restaurant example, which means that you're going to start a new restaurant in which you are actually expecting, let's say, 200 customers. So how many people should be hired in order to deal with these 200, 500 or whatever number of customers that you're expecting? So let's first understand a few things. You need to understand the assumptions, that what are the assumptions of your business. We'll talk about them. The number of working hours per shift, which means, let's say, people will be working for 8 hours. And then FTE is the full-time equivalent that you require in order to run a business of 200 customers. Then what you do is you actually take each task and then you calculate the time in which that specific task can be performed, and then you multiply it with the number of minutes you need, the number of hours that you need, and then you decide how many people will be required to perform certain number of tasks. So I think these are the things that we can also understand in the Excel file. So let's just go there. So here is our Excel file of workforce planning using task analysis, and we're taking an example of restaurant. So a few things that you first must understand in order to calculate these things. Many formulas have been given to this Excel file. So if we just change these number of customers, it will change many things here like this. So let's just go to our 200 customer examples. So first we need to understand that we are expecting that there are going to be 200 customers that we will be serving in our restaurant. So it's a new restaurant, but still we have some assumptions. And we are expecting that guests per table are going to be 3, which means at one table you will be averagely serving 3 customers. So that means if you have to cater 200 people and 3 persons will be at one table, you will be needing at least 67 tables or 66 tables roughly. So these are the assumptions. Then we have some more assumptions, that how many drinks will one person be drinking and how many pizzas will be eaten by the customers. So we are saying that one person on average will have 2 drinks. One person is going to have 1 pizza, and we are only serving pizza here. pizza and drinks. Now, how do we calculate our data? So in order to serve 200 customers, how many tables do you have to prepare? Because we are going with the 66 or 67 tables, so we will have to serve 67 tables, right? In order to serve 200 customers. How many orders do we need to take? Because there are approximately 67 tables, so we'll be taking one order from each table. How many pizzas do we have to prepare? That is 200, because we took the assumption that everybody will be eating one pizza. So 200 customers, 200 pizzas. How many billings a person will have to do, a waiter or the accountant? So it is the 67 billings a person will have to do. And then how many people he or she will have to chat with? Because we have 67 tables, so 67 chats. How many drinks do we have to prepare? 400. Why 400? Because there are 200 customers. Each will be drinking 2 drinks. That makes it 400. Now, these were the assumptions. This is the approximate data that we have of the tasks, core tasks that people will be performing. Now, how much time is required in order to perform one task? So we are saying in order to prepare a table, we need 2 minutes, duration in minutes. So if we calculate the same time in hours, that is 2.22 hours in order to prepare tables. How many minutes will we take in taking the orders? 3 minutes per task, but in total you need 3 hours and 33 minutes, or you can say 3.33 hours in order to take orders. And then pizza preparation will take 4 minutes average, and then 13.33 hours will be taken in just preparing pizzas. And billing will be done for 67 tables into 3 hours and 3.33 hours. And then chat, and then prepare the drinks. Preparing drink will take half a minute, and then 400 drinks will take 3.33 hours. So this in total will be done by the people in 27.78 hours. All of these tasks to cater 200 people will be done in 27.78 hours. Additional tasks, for example, 5% of the time will be the break. Obviously, the employee will not be working for straightforwardly for 8 hours. They will be taking some breaks. So the break counts is 0.40 hours. And then administrative task is 0.80 hours. And then miscellaneous is 20%, which is 1.6. So additional tasks, if performed, 2.80. So what you do is this plus the additional tasks. When you plus them, you come up with these number of hours. So these are the 30.58 hours that you will require in order to do all these tasks and in order to serve 200 customers. So if you simply divide this 30.58 with 8, because 8 hours shift is there, you will get to know that you will be needing 5.2 people who will be working real time, but 3.82 people, because these are the people who will be working for 8 hours in order to complete these 30 hours. And FT is required after additional task. This is before the additional task, and this is after the additional task. So if you have 5.34 people with you, you will be able to serve 200 customers. So now, what if we have more customers for the same restaurant? So let's just put 400 customers here. The amount will be doubled. Let's suppose if you have 1,000 customers, so you will be needing 26.71 people. So this is how we use our workforce planning using task analysis. So try and understand it first and then practice it so you can understand it, how we can plan for our workforce, that how many people do we need in order to do these tasks and in order to serve these many people. Thank you very much for now, and we'll see you in the next lecture.